This is of the Holy Word. You are now in tune. On the one, the force itself at this time. We call it the Holy Master Blaster Javan. I am Etol Iman. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was Rastafari. The same was in the beginning with Rastafari. The Rastafari movement was caused by his subtle majesty, and without him was not anything made that was made. In him was life, and the life was the light of men. And the light shineth in the darkness, and the darkness comprehended it not. There was a man sent from God, whose name was Robert Nesta Marley. The same came for a witness, to bear witness of the light, that all black people through him might believe. Bob Marley was not that light, but was sent to bear witness of that light. That was the true light, which lighteth every black man that cometh into the world. He was in the world was made by him, and the world knew him not. He came unto his own, and his own received him not. But as many as received him, to him gave he power to become sons of God, Rastafari, even to them that believe on his name, which were born not of blood, nor of the will of the flesh, nor of the will of man, but the subtleness of King Selassie. And the Word was made flesh, and dwelt among us, and we beheld his glory, the glory as of the true and first prophet of Rastafari, full of grace and truth. Bob Marley bare witness of his imperial majesty, and cried, saying, This was he of whom I spake. He that cometh after me is preferred before me, for he was before me. And of his fullness have all true Rastafari received, and grace for grace. For the law was given by old Marcus Garvey, but grace and truth came by the prophet Bob Marley. Many Rastas never saw Selassie in their lifetime, only pictures. The only begotten Son, which is in the bosom of the Father, he hath declared him. And this is the record of Etol Iman in the final days, when the light of the movement was glowing dim, and the people lacked understanding. When the cultural bandits, the whites proclaiming to be Rasta, were saying that the king never said he was the Christ, save followed the Christ, a fictitious character of the Bible. Most Rastas deny that Bob Marley was the prophet. Many who were close to him were not fond of him. He was a voice crying in the wilderness, Make straight the way of the Lord, as said the prophet Marcus Mosiah Garvey. And the government was asking questions about him, and they plotted to kill the prophet. And they knew him to be the prophet, for he was winning many souls, so that the world of evil was about to change. Bob Marley spoke to them through his music, which was a baptism to all who accepted it in their hearts. All did not understand this mystery. Bob Marley did not preach of himself, but was a guide that all know the teachings of the 225th king from the blooded line of King Suleiman. These things were done first in Jamaica, where Bob Marley was born, and his teachings were broadcast throughout the world. Bob Marley had a dream of the king who placed a ring upon his finger. And one day while in London, in the future, the son of the king called Bob Marley unto him and presented him with the ring of the king. And Marley said, "This is the ring which appeared in my dream." And upon his finger the ring did burn like fire, and Bob Marley became the king without a throne. This was after the king had left the earth, and his music was a testament to truth of the king which was to come, and did and left. And the world knew it not that Christ they had awaited had did so. This is what the prophet had come unto the world to say. And I saw and bear record that this is the son of the king. He wore the ring of his father unto his death. And the prophet for his words, which was truth, became the Lamb of God. Many who heard his songs did follow him, and Bob turned no man away who came to him. He said unto them, "Come and see." They came and saw where he dwelt, and abode and abided with him. And one man who was also a light and sang with him was Peter Tosh, who also knew Bob to be the prophet, and raised the banner of the king. Bunny Wailer was also one of the original artists who helped the prophet to spread the word. And there were 3 women backup singers called the I3s, who all became traitors of the faith in the end. One was his wife. And the following of the prophet became worldwide, and the government of the land plotted to kill him, just as the Bible story went of Jesus. Trenchtown, where the prophet grew up and made famous in his song, was likened unto Nazareth, where the Christ of the Bible came from. And it was said also, "Can anything good come out of Trenchtown?" Trenchtown was the birthplace of the music of the king and the home of the Rastafari movement. And this is written this day, that is to say, all was in preparation for the return of the Holy Mothership Nibiru. You are now in tune on the one, the force itself. This time, we call it the Holy Master Blaster Gemin. I am Ital Iman. Yes, I, Jalil children.
All right, what is going on, guys? It is Adam, aka Marf, and this is Marfugal News. Today we have a lot to go over in a short amount of time. So remember, if you haven't been here before, make sure to go over to our website, marfugalnews.com, and just find today's thumbnail. You will be able to get a full bibliography of every single article, tweet, video, picture, document that I'm going to talk about here today, and you will be able to access the pictures from today. Very important. If you see Wages World, one of our friends and one of our amazing creators in the Fugal family ended up catching a really, really extremely creepy / possibly amazing thing in, of course, the images coming from the sun and the solar flare. Now, a lot of people have been talking about solar flares lately because obviously there was a few big events, including one that actually cracked the magnetosphere. A lot of folks are worried because we are going into 2023, 24, 25, in the peak of the solar cycle 25, which is, again, it's said to be one of the most unpredictable cycles out there. And on top of being an unpredictable cycle and a solar maximum coming up, you also have it in another cycle that, since they've been recording over the last 4 centuries, essentially it may be on this turn where we might have a really, really huge event. A huge event being a solar flare and a really bad storm that hits us could knock out the grid worldwide. That's the kind of event that hopefully we do not see anytime soon. So we'll talk about that, and then I will, of course, bring in Wages World in just a second. But I first wanted to go over some of the things that could result as these solar events happen. Now, There are many people that believe solar events actually directly, basically align with what is going on with earthquakes. There was this piece that we covered over the last couple nights, and then I have to point out that there was a channel, Jacob Israel. If you guys don't know who he is, he did a really great job covering it and some of the crazy symbolism going on right now. His video is urgent earthquake warning for San Francisco and more. Signal just hit. That video is really, really good. Go and check that out. That fits into the whole kind of piece of the puzzle here. And then we're going to have Wages World talk about the solar events that have been going on. He's much more of an expert than I am. And then, of course, show you some of the craziest, image captures ever. And I'm super surprised more people did not catch this. So let's bring in Wages World. Wages, are you there? And can we have you come back in?
Yes, sir. I am here. How are you, Adam?
So let's. So first off, this is absolutely nuts. And I actually, in my thumbnail, I put an image of Bob Marley. When I first saw it, I actually saw Bob Marley in this image. When you first look at it, and again, it's sideways. I'll try to see if I can rotate it. In fact, Dex, I don't know if we can try to get a rotated version, but there is most definitely this face there. One thing that my wife also noticed is that it looks like there is a 6. It looks like a Kilroy popping over the sun. I'll show the video where this happened, but do you want to explain kind of how this came about? And this is really wild.
Yeah. My channel, what I do over there is space weather, and I watch the sun constantly. So I just, every once in a while, just pick up my phone just to check the sights and things. And I seen this massive eruption on that side of the sun. And from our point of view, when that happens, we can't really tell if it's coming right at us or if it's going away from us. So you got to go look at other satellites and things like that. So that's what I did. And in the process of doing that, figured out it was going 90 degrees away from us. So this one's not going to hit us. But it did do what that did. If that had hit us, I do think we would have issues. It's a big one. It truly is. When you see those, what I call wings, they kind of flap as it's running, you can see it kind of just open up and spread. If you follow those out, that it ends up being larger than the sun itself. And, that's plasma. Those are like this big plasma arms flapping open. So, as I'm looking at this CME, for some reason, as I'm looking at it, that face just popped out at me. I guess our brains just do kind of crazy things sometimes when we see those kinds of things. I just thought it was really, really interesting to see that just pop out over the edge like that in such definition. I didn't have to do nothing to it. That's exactly what it looks like if anybody was to go look at the site or anything. When I seen that, obviously one of the first people I thought about was you guys. And I sent it over to you guys, and I just wanted to see anybody's reaction. And you guys had the same reaction as I did. It was like, wow, what is that? So at that point, I made a short just on the CME part of it, and I didn't talk about the face because I didn't have time. That's the only reason why I didn't talk about it. But when I did see that, I was like, wow, what in the world? What's the chances of that happening? Seeing that kind of a thing just kind of pop out at you, and during one of the bigger eruptions that we've had in a long time. And we've had a couple of geomagnetic storms hit in the past week or so that weren't really hardly anything, but they did hit us hard enough to crack the magnetosphere open a little bit. And, we had some crazy looking aurora, and it ties into all the earthquake stuff too. That's, I've been on your show, I don't know, a couple weeks back, and I was showing you guys that new model. And they're tying space weather. They're now, they're really, really looking at that now. They're trying to forecast it using, forecast earthquakes, at least incorporate space weather into that. And so they're starting to do that. And it definitely, in my opinion, there's no doubt. I don't think even anybody really argues it anymore that space weather has a big effect on this. And this particular eruption actually was fired right at Jupiter. And we see that sometimes because obviously Jupiter is a gas giant. So, that's the next biggest object in our solar system other than the sun. And they do interact with each other and they affect each other. But this one, this was a big one. If this had happened a day or two later, it would have been facing us. So that's a 24 to 48 hour like reprieve for us. But we're going to have to watch this area of the sun. It's rotating towards us. It's not rotating out. It's rotating in.
And this was a massive, massive event. Obviously, we're very happy this didn't come towards us. But one thing I also want to point out, and some folks are saying, is that it looks like a horse out of Apocalypse with a face right here. I did not see that before. Obviously, there are things like ink blots where people's minds see things, but when you really step back from this image, the first thing that I've shown like 4 or 5 people the picture you sent me on my text, and it was instant. There's a face, and my wife said there's a face and there's a 6, and I thought, man, that's just wild. And I was thinking, man, Jacob Israel is going to have a blast covering this. Because it's absolutely nuts. But I didn't notice this almost looks like a nose right here. This almost looks like a horse kind of up on its back legs, like neighing. Obviously this is, people make a big deal out of if there's the face of God on toast, right? But this is a huge, huge thing that happened. This is larger than Earth, and it just looks like the face of God, or like Bob Marley. Honestly, in my thumbnail, I found a picture, and it was like the first one that popped up, and it looks just like this image almost. I have to say that it was just wild to me that you could see such structure in this random image of thing. Maybe it's just chance, but what if it's something more than that? Now, as far as the prediction for the earthquakes, do you think that is something that is a real thing? A lot of people have been talking about predictions for California having a big one because of all of these different things that they look at. Do you feel like the solar events, if something like that happened, do you think it would be directly related to whatever just happened?
Oh, I think there's so much data out there now to support that. I don't think there's any question anymore, really. Obviously, there's going to be people that disagree with that, but at the same time, if you look at the data and anything, when they take the time to produce a model to try to help forecast earthquakes, and what it's doing, it's detecting the geoelectric field on the surface of the Earth, and that field's directly responsive to anything that's coming from the sun, from space weather. Geomagnetism affects us geoelectrically. So that, and I put it in real simple terms for people a lot of times, and this is what I usually say: energy in has to mean energy out at some point. So if you're getting hit with all this highly charged particles, it's going straight into our planet, and it has to come out somewhere. And I think that's what we see. And I think that, obviously there's a whole lot more to forecasting earthquakes, and, it's something I'm not even skilled at all. But I do know, and I do see a lot of correlations with space weather, especially stuff from the sun, with us seeing an uptick in earthquakes. And I do think that it's a very valid thing. And, it even affects our weather, directly our weather. It's the biggest driving force. We've seen us get hit with CMEs, and it instantly intensifies hurricanes. We've seen it twice in 1 year in the Gulf of Mexico. It happened like that. So, the sun is the biggest producer of anything that influences us at all. I mean, that's the bottom line. And it affects everything. And I do think that we're going to see an uptick. We have been seeing upticks anyway in earthquake activity. And I think it's just going to continue.
Wasn't 2022 was one of the most active years in recent history for auroras, and for the solar activity was twice what it normally was what one piece said and one study said. As far as this year, we're getting closer to the maximum. Somebody actually in chat said, your first answer should have been Jesus. I don't believe it looks like Jesus. If I saw Jesus, I would say it. But this is from the sun. It might not necessarily be Jesus. I said I saw what I saw. I'm not going to tell somebody I see something I don't. Also, if this was something like that, if you see Jesus, that's fine. but I didn't. And honestly, you're stepping into a time where most of us are in the mind frame that we are getting closer to end times, then it's up to you what you see. I don't see, and when you turn it sideways, it doesn't look like a heavenly figure. It looks creepy to me. The Bob Marley was like a secondary thing, but literally it did. Once I saw that, of course, my mind, or once somebody said that, I definitely went to that. But as far as like what this is, it's definitely a big solar event, that's for sure. As far as the random face, I think it's a cool catch, and I'm surprised everybody that covered this, and a lot of people covered this solar event because it was huge. I'm surprised that you were one of the first and the only people to call it out. So good job, Wages.
Yeah.
Good catch.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. That's, and I would say this too, when most people look at this, like this data, when you're watching it, it's in like a movie format. It's not really in a still frame. And that's something I've always done. I've always slowed things down and stopped and went frame by frame. That's probably why I was able to see it more than what other people do. And of course, what I do forces me to look at that all the time anyway. So I'm probably going to, catch things, but I'm in agreement with you here, because that right there, the pictures are just, I didn't touch them, edit it at all. No contrast, no nothing to try to bring anything out. That is just what it looked like. I've not seen anything like that with that kind of a definition. I mean, you can see the bridge in the nose and that kind of thing. But again, it's a big solar eruption. And what you said earlier, I'll touch on that real quick too. Since the end of the year just happened, we did have more sunspots than we've had in 7 years. That's a historical fact now. That's data. So we are on an uptick. We're moving towards solar maximum, and we're ahead of schedule. Actually, we're more active than what we should have been. And I think I talked about that quite a bit here on your channel, and you've covered it a lot. And I think we need to be watching close, and I think that's just what we have to do. I mean, start talking about getting cracks in your magnetosphere and letting highly charged particles in. Yeah, like I said, energy in, energy out. And when it's also one of the reasons why we look up and our sun isn't so much yellow anymore. It's because the filter that we look at through the sun, our atmosphere, is changing. Our magnetics are changing. Those things are changing. And that's why we're seeing things look a little different, in my opinion. So, yeah.
Well, Wages, good catch. And again, thank you for coming on, and thank you for letting us show this. There's much, much more to come. We have tons and tons of stuff planned for tonight's show over on Marfugal TV. We will touch on this again on tonight's show, so make sure to be there. Thank you for everybody that popped in. I just thought this was incredibly cool. Make sure to go over and subscribe to Wages World's channel. You can go to marfugalnews.com. You can actually go to marfugalnews.com/friends. He is among the many creators in, of course, our friend circle that makes awesome content, is always trying to help people. He also helps the channel Lifeboat, and he actually, over there, they help people that are dealing with recovery issues. Of course, it's an awesome channel that, of course, is helping a whole lot of people. So make sure to go check out both channels over there. That's all also run with Captain Tommy. Make sure to go check them out. They're great. Also, make sure to go to the website if you haven't already. Again, go over there and check out all of the other creators, including Jacob Israel. Wages, I want to say thank you today, and thank you so much for coming on.
Well, thank you for having me, Adam. And as always, I love the Fugal fam, and, I don't know what I would be doing without everybody here, and you guys are just awesome. So thank you.
All right. Well, thank you, Wages. And again, if you haven't already, make sure to go to the website and get our notifications directly from us. Also, if you want to back up your power, if there was ever a CME or a Carrington level event that happens in the reasonable future, we are going to be extremely vulnerable. You'll definitely want to get something like the Flex 1500. I don't know if the X2 has less of a waiting list and it's an all built-in one. But if you did want to get a Flex 1500, I do know that they actually make an EMP shield directly for that. Again, is the only solar generator that you can get an EMP shield for. So if you did want to get something that's protected and a backup power source, go to marfugalnews.com/energy and make sure to use the code Marfugal. Of course, that is unlimited power. As long as you have a solar panel hooked up, you have power. So it's an amazing system. Make sure to go over and check it out. marfugelnews.com/energy. It helps support our independent channel. We're completely independent. We don't have a multi-channel network. We don't have a multi-billion-dollar company behind us. We have the Fugel fam and everybody that's been with me. I've been trying to expand this since day one. Again, we have gone through so many setbacks. But again, if it would be my dream to have all sorts of other people and other families dependent on this channel. So again, if you want to help us out, make sure to spread the word about us, share this out with your friends and family, and make sure to join us on tonight's show where we go over all of the events that have gone on in the last 24 hours. That again is a 2-hour live show over on our sister channel, Marfugel TV. That can also be found in the description down below. Make sure to go check it out. Thank you so much, and everybody have a wonderful night. I appreciate anybody that supported. I'll make sure to shout you out on tonight's show. Again, have a great night, and be safe, be prepared, and Marf out.
Bob Marley the Christ. The demons rejoice and say Marley cried out and turned to Jesus before he died. Why is this important to the heathen? They know nothing of esoteric aspect of Rastafari. Who are they to judge? How can they teach? What can they know? Rastafari is one of the oldest Christian nations. Revelation 14:1. And I looked, and lo, a lamb stood on the Mount Zion, and with him 144,000, having his father's name written in their foreheads. They do not know what has been hidden. And I heard a voice from heaven, as the voice of many waters, and as the voice of a great thunder. And I heard the voice of harpers harping with their harps, and they sung as it were a new song before the sword, and before the 4 beasts and the elders. And no man could learn that song but the 144,000 which were redeemed from the earth. These are they which were not defiled with women, for they are virgins. These are they which follow the Lamb wheresoever he goeth. These were redeemed from among men, being the first fruits unto God and to the Lamb. Before the year 1930, there were 12 world religious movements. Then came the 13th, the enigmatic Rastafari movement. We know Bob Marley is the Christ, for like him we dance from within. Leaf falling from tree, dancing upon sudden wind, lands at my feet, the magic of spring. Greetings and salutations of peace, O ones of the one. You are now in tune on the one, the force itself. We are the tone scientist. We live in between the time, controlling the groove. We have returned, hear me now. Bob Marley is the Christ. Babylon, them a plan, but it is we, Allah, who is the best of planners. We come to tell you, every little thing will be alright. Spring comes, the grass grows of its own. Strong winds blow, not all day, passing through a dry gate into a rainstorm. To walk in seasons is to awaken, find you really are. To walk in seasons is to quietly wait with an open buds. We are here, return of the swallows. Even though the angels speak in the mystic tongue, so shall I reveal the secrets. My faith is in the wisdom of the moon. Sun is a light unto my path, the destroyer and giver of life. Who shall I fear? For the counsel of the gods rejoice in my actions. My words are audible to spiritual ears only. Bob Marley is the Christ, I say. Ayo! Ayo, ayo, ayo. Rastafari live.